am good. Ready to get started on something fun and abstract. While I eat my cereal and drink my tea, I'm gonna ruminate on what it is that I'm going to do. Not too much rumination because I want it to be spontaneous and fresh. So I'm thinking that I want to work with something with a limited palette of colors. I'm wanting it to be abstract. I want to work in this sketchbook, which I actually have only done one sketch in. And it was a sketch that was done in charcoal, and it kind of shut me down when I did this sketch, and this shut me down from using this sketchbook anymore because it was the first spread I did in the sketchbook, and it was when George Floyd was murdered. And I don't know if you can see the whole thing. Maybe I should move back. But it was traumatic. I mean, it was such a traumatic time for all of us. And I just sort of drew it out in this spread. And there was a poem that came with it that I wrote on the next pages. That, I mean, I think because I started this journal out with such a traumatic spread, that I just couldn't get back to using it. So it sat there. And so today I think I'm going to break that. Some of the things that I wrote, I never wrote the complete poem, but some of the things that I wrote right after or as I was drawing that charcoal drawing, and just thinking about everything that was going on, the riots, everything. It was just so horrible, such a horrible time. And COVID and, you know, for empaths out there, it's just been a real traumatic time. So I had written, men still grow tall and strong. Their arms like branches reach towards the heavens as they cry out to God, and she hears them. Through her tears, she hears them. And that was the central figure in the spread that was crying. Let's see her tears. This is a big book to flip around. And then the next thing was, men still plant their seed and women carry the weight of it all. Their hearts are branded from the heat of the love, from the moment of conception. The sons that went before, the ones that were lost, taken, murdered, they are there too. Scars she carries deep in her breast, the ones that plant fear deep inside her. God sheds her tears on the bones of the lost sons, and they rise up to greet her. If black men were trees and white men had axes, would all the forests be chopped down and burned in the furnace of hate? Oh, I get goosebumps still because, yeah, I don't even have words for it, but now that I have read that, you can sort of see some of the symbolism of the things that were painted. The men rising up to God that have been slain, the men as trees, the graves, the man with the axe, the man with branches reaching up out of the grave, the skeleton, men working in the fields, slaves working in the fields, the big plantation house, the riots, the protesters with their "I can't breathe" signs, and a young child What must this be like for the young children, the grieving, the broken windows from the riots, the fires, the sniper. And it comes full circle back to a female image of God holding all of this against her breast, her heart center, and all of the slain going up to meet her. So, you know, what a way to paralyze yourself from being able to do any more work in your art journal, right? Oh, anyways. But I think today I am going to do a spread in here. And I don't think I'm going to think about it at all. I think it's just going to be totally random. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to gesso the pages first. I might. I was going to gesso them, but I don't think I'll even do prep work. I think I'll just go because, you know what? It can always be a layer for something later on. It can always be the first layer of something that I go on to create later on. So let me get a couple of things together. Let me think about intuitively as I open up my paint boxes what I want to put in here. I want to keep it really simple. I'd like to keep it to like 3 colors, maybe 3, maybe 4 colors. Let's see, I'll gather some stuff. Okay, so some of the things that I grabbed, and I don't know if I'm going to use them all because this may end up being super simple, but I grabbed a few things. I grabbed one of these wooden ink pens, a couple of Chinese silk painting brushes or calligraphy brushes, some waterproof India ink. I did grab some gesso. I grabbed a container full of water-soluble graphite pencils and Stabilos. So there's, most of them are, let's see, these are graphite ones, and then there's Stabilo in white, blue, brown, and black. I would probably only use the black Stabilo. A fine liner filled with gold acrylic. Some golden fluid acrylic and quinacridone nickel azo gold. I don't know if there's anything left in here. If there is, it's very little. So we'll see if I even use this. And this is Blick matte acrylic in aqua. And that's it. And I grabbed a scraper. So I'm gonna switch the camera around so you can see the paper and go from there. We'll see what we come up with. Hopefully very spontaneous. I'm actually getting really tired now. It's getting towards the end of the day. I have a tea somewhere, which I should be sipping because it has caffeine in it. My tea, which is actually still a little warm. And I may stand for this to be able to get more expressive marks. All right, I'm going to switch the camera around and we'll see what happens. I think first I'm going to take a black Stabilo. I'm going to dip it in my water. And just start making marks. Take some gesso. I haven't used this paint in ages, so it'll be interesting to see what should we use to move that paint around. This is the Nicolazo, quinacridone Nicolazo Gold in the fluid acrylics. Okay, now I think I'm going to try some ink. I dried it a little bit. It's not completely dry. Try some of this ink with one of these brushes. This has a neat little loop on it. So if you kind of hold it from the loop, you really can't control it. Try taking some deli paper and rolling. It's pouring rain out. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, I feel like I should probably let this dry again. But something tells me to spray it first. Now it says it's waterproof ink, so it may not move, but it is still wet. Oh yeah. Part of my brain is saying to let it dry first, and part of my brain is saying just to keep going forward. So let's see what happens. Now I'm going to try and see what happens if I put some of this in here and really water it down a lot. All right, I think I'm going to hit this with the dryer again. So I just looked at the camera and realized that after I went to wash out some of my brushes, I hadn't turned it back on. So I don't know how different it is right now from when I left it. But I'm gonna do a couple of more things to it and then let it sit and see how it looks tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm actually getting my COVID shot, so if I feel great, my arm doesn't hurt, I'll finish it up tomorrow. If not, if I don't feel so great, it'll have to wait a little bit. So part of the problem I was having with this piece, with working on my table over there, was that I have never worked in a sketchbook this big with the camera apparatus that I had. So the camera had to be in a different position than I'm used to it being in. And also because it was laying flat, I couldn't step back. And I'm not used to that when I'm working on a painting. I'm, especially if it's anything of any size, I'm used to being able to step back, and I ended up getting really thrown by that. I couldn't step back. So I'm gonna reinstate some of the black ink, and then I'm gonna let it sit overnight. I've got it on my easel now, my tabletop easel, and I'll come back to it when I get back from my COVID shot tomorrow and see how it feels then. So, not gonna think about it too much, just gonna add some of the ink. Okay, there's only one other thing I'm going to do, and then I'm going to leave it. I'm going to take the fine liner with some gold in it and add a little bit of gold. So there's where it sits right now. There's one thing I'm going to do that I can't resist doing, and it may be a big mistake, but here goes. All right, well, let's see what it looks like when it dries. Definitely like it better with what I just did. It's kind of scary though, because it could have gone the other way. All right, there it is. This may be transformed by the next video, or I may have decided to leave it. I'm not sure, but I'm actually liking it a lot more right now. I will see you in the next video.